My role in CenterParcs is as Director of Development and Engineering. I am responsible for all capital projects as well as maintenance. The 4 villages, we started in 1987 with Sherwood. It obviously was a natural choice, the most famous forest in the world, Sherwood Forest. And subsequent to that, we moved to East Anglia at Elvedon. We went out to search for the 3rd site and needed to be as far away as possible from the other 2, and we found Longleat, so that was village number 3. And the 4th village we actually did not build, but Rank built that in Cumbria, and eventually we bought it. When I look for a site for a village, I start with the zone of search. The zone of search is key to make sure that the next village will not impinge on the existing villages in the way of catchment. Once we establish that, we look into the zone of search and start looking for availability of the right woodland. It needs to be coniferous woodland, not ancient woodland. We also look at the accessibility to the site, and also we look at the topography of the site as well as the soil condition in terms of is it sand or clay. Each site is about 400 acres or 160 hectares. The site is made up of lakes and waterways and other landscaping. We do introduce lakes ourselves. We never had lakes on the site from day one. And by introducing water into the site, it changes the wildlife that there is on every village. That adds to the biodiversity and the food chain, which is something that we're very proud of. The amount of build we have on every village is in total, and that this includes roads and footpaths and everything, is less than 10% of the site. So it's remarkably low. And the main construction obviously includes about 800 lodges per village. It also includes about 30,000 square meters of leisure buildings per village, which are the covered centers. The design of the subtropical swimming paradise, as we call it, is not rocket science. It's fairly straightforward. It's a dome. Dome is the simplest form of structure to bring loads straight down to the ground and to the foundations. It's a glue laminated construction, so we use timber for it, and it's covered by glass or a plastic membrane, depending on the circumstances. It is about 3,500 square meters in area, and if you look at it from a diameter point of view, it's about 60 meters diameter. It contains a whole variety of subtropical plants, which we are experts at finding, procuring, and importing to predetermined locations within the pool. It contains, the main feature is the wave pool, of course, but also it contains various rides and smaller pools for toddlers and the like. So there's a bit for everyone in there. On each village there is a technical services team and there is a ground services team made up of in total about 20-25 members of staff. Their role is to look after the daily issues of the site, but they are supported from a strategy point of view from my department in head office. We do the actual planning, we do the monitoring, we do the budgeting on an annual basis. But their main role is if there is a problem, they go and do the first fix. And if they cannot fix it because it may be too complex or too large, then they have on their books specialist contractors who they would call on, and they have contracts with them to fix as quickly as possible, bearing in mind that our villages never close down. The refurbishment of the facilities is very critical because most of our guests enjoy CenterParcs and so much that they actually come back quite regularly. So they must come back to a fresh product and not something that is starting to weaken or look shabby or whatever. And we've concluded that the best cycle is 8 years. Now, what do I mean by 8-year cycle? An 8-year cycle is through a lot of judgment and thinking and referring to our operators on the villages, is the right time for the durability of the product, whether it's a door, whether it's carpets, whether it's other elements. So 8 years, you'll manage to be on top of that. Secondly, it is the most economical in terms of lifetime analysis of the various components of the village. And thirdly, very importantly as well, is the trends. Trends tend to change significantly, and if you don't move with the trends, you're falling behind. So 8 years, it's what I call it fashion life. It also meets that criteria. So we start with an 8-year cycle, then it is split down to maybe 2 years for the softer end. For example, if you have duvets, you may refurbish them every 2 years. You don't wait 8 years for those. But if it is the bathroom, it can wait 8 years, so long as you maintain it. And there are some other things which go to 16 years, which are of a longer life.